Her Excellency Ambassador Rikana Chihambori Kau, MD FAAFP, is the founder and president of the African Diaspora Development Institute, ATDI. She is also a medical doctor, having practiced medicine for over 25 years, founder and owner of medical clinics. She's a diplomat, public speaker, educator, and an entrepreneur. She's also an author, and her published book, Africa 101, The Wake Up Call, is a bestseller on Amazon. Prior to this, in her role as permanent representative to the African Union Mission in Washington, D.C., Her Excellency worked tirelessly towards fulfilling her mandate, which was to undertake, develop, and maintain relationships between the African Union and the executive and legislative branches of the U.S. government, the African Diplomatic Corps, the Africans in the diaspora, and the Bretton Woods institutions. This was specifically in relation to the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area and advancing the priority areas of Agenda 2063. Her efforts at mobilizing the diaspora as people of African descent and not as citizens of any single African country is unprecedented and exemplifies her ability to unify people around a common goal, speaking with one voice as one Africa and one continent. Before her appointment as AU ambassador, Her Excellency's contributions to the cause of Africa had earned her many prestigious honors and awards. She has two awards which she cherishes the most. The first one was the Achievement Award, which she received in 1996 from the incumbent president of the time, His Excellency, the late President Nelson Mandela of the Republic of South Africa. On the stage, as she received the award, were both President Mandela and President Mugabe of the Republic of Zimbabwe. The second one was the African Woman of Excellence Award, which she received in July 2015 during the AU Summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. She received this award alongside 15 other prominent African women, including the former President of the Republic of Liberia, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the former President of the Republic of Malawi, Madam Joyce Banda, Mama Winnie Mandela of the Republic of South Africa, Mama Ngina Kenyatta of the Republic of Kenya, Mama Asigwe Ayam from the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and Dr. Nkosazana and Lamini Zuma of the Republic of South Africa. During her 3-year tenure as AU ambassador to the United States, Her Excellency received over 100 awards and attestations from many organizations, including the African diaspora within the Americas. She received the 2018 Ambassador of the Year Award from Howard University in Washington, D.C. She also received numerous recognitions from members of Congress, as well as governors, mayors, and county executives from across the United States, as well as the Caribbean and South America. The African continent is also recognizing the noble contributions that Her Excellency is making to the development of Africa, as evidenced by the following accolades. In January 2020, after being featured having a profile in Courage, Her Excellency was honored to be named 2019 Person of the Year by the Guardian newspaper, which is the largest newspaper in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In an article published on June 12, 2020 by iGambia, a reputable Gambian newspaper, Her Excellency was listed 4th amongst their list of 10 most influential Africans for 2019. She was the only female to make this list. Reputation Poll, a leading global reputation management firm, in its July 2020 release of the 2020 list of 100 most reputable Africans, also featured Her Excellency as one of the most reputable Africans. In 2024, she was honored as one of the top 100 influential global voices by Leaders Without Borders Development Center and received the 2024 Millennium Business Hall of Fame induction and Global Citizen Award from the Young, Gifted, and Black Foundation. She was also awarded the honorary degree of Doctor of Science honorary causa by the Ahmadu Bello University of Zaria in Nigeria. Her Excellency Ambassador Arikana Chihombori Kwao is a fellow of the American Academy of Family Physicians and a member of the American Association of Family Physicians, as well as the Tennessee Association of Family Physicians. Her Excellency was born and raised in Zimbabwe, where she attained her primary and secondary education. She then left Zimbabwe for the United States of America, where she obtained a bachelor's degree in general chemistry, a master's degree in organic chemistry, as well as a doctor of medicine degree. Ladies and gentlemen, with a warm round of applause, help me welcome our speaker, Her Excellency Ambassador Arikana Chihombori Kwao. The applause could be better.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Okay. To the Chancellor of this very amazing university, Honorable Dr. Sam Joyner, to the Vice Chancellor, Honorable Mr. Johnson, to the diplomatic corps in the room, to the community leaders who are also present, to the faculty, to the students, all protocols observed. I want to thank all of you for giving me this opportunity to engage all of you on this very important topic where we honor our very own Asojifo Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of the first independent country in Africa. I truly appreciate the honor. It means a lot to me. Today's topic is about imperialism, colonialism, and neocolonialism as the three axes of evil in Africa. When I was asked to come and be part of this very important conversation, I was also asked to suggest a topic. I chose this topic because I feel it is pivotal that if change is going to come to Africa, we must understand the enemy. We must know the enemy. We must call the enemy by name. For when we do, we can then strategize, effectively strategize on how to effectively deal with the enemy once and for all. So it is, I chose that as the starting point. And what do you know? When I came to Cape Coast yesterday, driven by a wonderful driver who has made me extremely very comfortable in Cape Coast, staying at the Ridge Hotel, I was introduced to my room. And when I walked in the bedroom, right above the headboard was a big photograph of Queen Elizabeth in her young age. My heart sank. I said, I shall go to bed tonight with the photograph of Queen Elizabeth, the master of all evil in my own opinion, the leader of a country that started it all for most of the African countries. What happened to the photograph of Nanaya Asantua? What dreams would I have had I gone to bed with Nanaya Asantua last night? But instead, I went to bed with Queen Elizabeth. There is something terribly wrong with that picture. What happened? Why is it that as long as this hotel has been around, no one has seen something wrong with this picture? It's because we were defeated where it matters the most, the mind. It is 2024. The legacy of a policy that was set to make sure that Africa and her children are forever defeated to perpetuity remains alive and well. And that is why no one seems to see the reason why we must remove the photograph of Queen Elizabeth at the Ridge. The manager is my friend. We shall have a nice conversation. Centuries ago, people who don't look like you and I sat in their homes far away from Africa and talked about an amazing continent that had everything and anything that they could ever wish for and wondered how they could get there. So it is a few adventurous ones found their way to Africa. They quickly reported back of the amazing kingdoms with well-established educational systems, legal systems, health systems, and they wanted it all. They found a continent with riches that they could only dream of. They too wanted all of that. So they started sharing the news about an amazing continent far away from where they reside. Little by little, they started coming to Africa. They came from Britain, from France, from Italy, from Belgium, from Germany, all over Europe to find out the amazing, wonderful things that were going on in our Africa. They set out to make us believe that the little bit of peanuts that they brought to Africa were wonderful and amazing and more desirable than what we had in our beloved Africa. The process of brainwashing the Africans and making us disrespect that which is consequentially African began centuries ago. They sent missionaries to put us into submissive states of mind, so when they followed to steal that which belongs to us, we were already ready to turn the other cheek. And the other cheek, yes, we did turn. They made us believe that our black skin was undesirable and ugly. Have you ever wondered, why is it that we automatically know that we are inferior to them? There was an experiment that was held a few years back. A young black man, a rather child, was given a group of white dolls and a group of black dolls. The young boy was asked which doll was beautiful. He pointed at the black doll, at the white dolls rather. He was asked which doll was mean. He pointed at the black doll. He was asked which doll was friendly. He pointed at the white doll. And he was asked which doll looked more like him. Reluctantly, he pointed at the black one. The child, only 5 years old, was defeated before his life even began. No self-respecting mother, father, aunt, uncle would have sat this child and told them that they were beautiful. They were ugly, rather. But because the process was put in motion centuries ago, when the white people came to Africa and taught us about Jesus Christ, who was white, Jesus Christ with blue eyes, They told us that white was better than black. Have you ever seen a real white person? We went to school. They taught us about the colors. Black color, green color, orange color, white color. But when it came to describing people, they said, never mind about the colors that we told you about. We are white. Have you ever seen a white person? I have not. The deceit started then. We never questioned it. We said, okay, you're white, even though we know you're not white. And it didn't end there. Then they went on and brought the Bible. They said there's a place called heaven and a place called hell. In heaven, there are angels who are lovely, wonderful, desirable, and we all must strive to be like them. And oh, by the way, they are white, like us. And there's also a place called hell. There's the devil there, who is mean and hateful and does all the undesirable things, and you don't want to be like him. And by the way, he is black like you. And again, we didn't question that. So it is the destruction of the African mind started years, centuries ago, with blatant lies that we have never sought out to call out as lies for what they are. So it is, they said our blunt noses are no good. You must have a straight nose to be considered beautiful. We said, you're right. We agreed. It didn't end there. They put in policies to take everything that belonged to us, our natural resources. And before you know it, they were coming from Germany. They were coming from Europe, from France, from Britain. They were looting from black people. They started fighting each other as to how to distribute that which they would have looted from us. They had to send special police from Europe to come and deal with the issues of distribution of the loot from the Africans. The then Chancellor of Germany, realizing they were getting ready to have a European war on the African soil, he called all of them to Europe. Come, let's talk about really distribution of Africa for us. Let's prevent a European war on the African soil. So it is, my brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, they met in Berlin in 1884 in what is now called the Berlin Conference. Berlin Conference is not just a piece of history that you must understand in order to pass your exams. No. Berlin Conference is a conference that was held from November of 1884 to February of 1885 by the European nations, designed to see to it they put a policy in place to make sure that Africa and her children are forever defeated. They broke up Africa into tiny little countries. The more powerful a kingdom was, the more countries that came out of that kingdom. The more languages that were spoken by those who were given those countries. Picture yourself driving from Zambia. You're speaking English. Pretty soon you are in DRC. You're speaking French. Go a little bit west. You are in Equatorial Guinea. You're speaking Spanish. Keep going up north. You're now in Cameroon. In southern Cameroon, you're speaking English. And keep going up north. You're now in northern Cameroon. You're back speaking French. Before you know it, you are in Nigeria. You're speaking English. All by design. Maximum destruction of the African continent. Give it 2 generations. Tribes that were once one people never even knew they are related. Such is the Berlin Conference. A conference, as I've gone around talking to people, that young people never quite realize that the Berlin Conference is alive and well. I once gave a speech to the Africa group at the World Bank. I spoke about the Berlin Conference among many other issues. And after what I thought was a pretty good discussion, two economists walk up to me, African economists. They said, but Ambassador, we can't keep talking about the Berlin Conference. It's a thing of the past. And these were two economists. Many of them are the ones who are being sent to Africa to push policies that are detrimental to Africa's development. They simply did not understand the significance of the Berlin Conference as a policy that remains alive and well today, as long as we have a country called Togo, as long as we have a country called Malawi, as long as we have a country called Equatorial Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, and many others. Countries with 2 million people. Countries that are being told, oh, let's go to the world market and trade, and you are as equal as China with 1.4 billion people. Yes, Gabon with your 1.5 million people. Come, get into this boxing ring with China. You are equal, and when you are defeated, it's like, wait a minute. What's wrong with you, Gabon? You went into the boxing ring with China and you lost? What's your problem? Berlin Conference was designed to make sure that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated to this day. So it is they ruled us under colonization. If you were from Zimbabwe, your country was ruled from Britain. If you were colonized by the French, you were ruled from Paris. And the beat went on. Until little by little, leaders began to emerge who complained about something wrong with this picture, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah questioning, why is it that we, the black people, the mothers and fathers of humanity, the people who showed the world what it means to be civilized, why are we being treated as second-class citizens on earth? We, the people with the only dominant gene on earth, for some of you young people, I need you to understand that. That we as are the only people with a dominant gene, and the black gene simply cannot be defeated, simply cannot be destroyed. And that is one reason why they are so afraid of us. I often say, if you were to take genes of the different races and put them in a saucepan, take the Chinese gene, throw it in there. Take the white gene, throw it in there. Take the Japanese gene, take the black, any gene, you bring them in a saucepan, put them on a fire. Guess what? The rest of the genes will melt away, and the only gene that will remain standing is the black gene. Why? Because you are dominant. You cannot destroy a dominant gene. And being that we are the mothers and fathers of humanity, why are we being treated as second-class citizens? Kwame Nkrumah wanted to know. Many other African leaders wanted to know. We started asking questions, and the drumbeat got louder. It got so loud that they didn't have a choice but to back out. So wherein came in neo-colonization. Between the 1950s and 1960s, we saw African countries one by one become independent. Guess what, my brothers and sisters, sons and daughters? We were given fake independence. We were given independence by name. The multinational companies that existed during colonization, they have never left Africa to this day. They simply lay low. Economic liberation was blatantly denied from the Africans. We were made to believe that we were free. Free from what? French countries got it the worst. As as they were receiving their independence from France, they were made to sign a document which they called the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. Young people, I need you to write that down. The Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. On one hand, we want you to sign this document telling you that you are free. But on the other hand, we want you to sign this other document called the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization that simply says you agree to continue to be colonized in a different way. The animals simply changed clothes. And what was so bad about the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization? It said, your minerals, discovered and yet to be discovered, they belong to France. French companies had the first right of refusal. Your bank reserves, at that time it was 85% of your bank reserves, are going to be deposited with France. And if should you need some of those funds, you have to put in an application for a loan with the French Central Bank. And if approved, you can only access 20% of what you deposited the previous year as a loan at commercial interest rate. I want to repeat that, young people. I need you to listen to me. You have been depositing money for the past 5 years, the past 10 years, and when you need your own money, you have to apply for it as a loan at commercial interest rate, and you can only access, if approved, 20% of what you deposited the previous year. The rest is gone. France is keeping it. Records show that France would invest those funds in the French stock market with returns in excess of over 300 billion a year. And France kept all that since the 1950s to this day. Your military could only be trained by France. Your military equipment could only be bought from France. Your language of instruction could only be French. So if you were to be a president of any of the former French colonies, your first day in office, your chief of staff shall come to you and say, Mr. President, I must read to you what is stipulated by the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization, because if you do not follow this, your head could find itself hanging from a tree. So, Mr. President, you have to deposit 85% of your bank reserves with France. Mr. President, you cannot do anything about your natural resources. French companies have the first right of refusal. Mr. President, your military can only be trained by France. Mr. President, you can only buy military equipment from France. If you stay from those main basic things, Mr. President, you're free to run your country any which way you want. What kind of president is that? So it is, as I traveled around the United States and the Americas, and I would talk about what was happening in Africa. To my surprise, the Africans, but Ambassador, the African leaders are corrupt. I get it. We have some that are corrupt, but we also have some good leaders. But the question is, what kind of a president do you have who has given up natural resources, who has given up financial resources, who has given up control of it? What kind of a leader is that? We have to talk about the multinationals. In addition to that pact, in addition to the constraints that are being put on African leaders, in addition to the fear of having coups and African leaders being eliminated when they try to do that which is right for their people, we also had to deal with the multinationals that never left Africa since colonization to this day. We too must call them out. because they too are another axis of evil. They are robbing Africa to the tune of trillions every year. They use safe havens to hide their returns. They are using illegal means to loot out of Africa. Look at DRC. You have tarmacs in the middle of the jungle. 747s flying into DRC, picking up minerals and flying right out of Africa. And this is happening all over Africa. You have NGOs that are sent to Africa not to help you, NGOs that are coming to Africa to make sure that they continue to destabilize your countries by any means necessary. Neo-colonization is colonization that simply changed clothes. As we talk about our Africa and what is ailing our beloved continent, as we talk about institutions of higher learning, it is important that children, you understand the three axes of evil: imperialism, colonization, neo-colonization. Understand them fully and understand how they are being used to keep Africa where they want Africa to be. You see, a liberated and informed Africa is an Africa that is dangerous to the Western world. To what extent are we going to continue to be stupid? To what extent are we going to continue to be used as instruments of our own self-destruction? To what extent are we going to stand up and say enough is enough? We have failed you as your elders. We are leaving you in Africa that is not where it should be, and for that we apologize. But all is not lost. I do know one thing, that there are enough of us who get it, enough of us who are committed to making sure that we tell you young people the truth and nothing but the truth. The struggle for Africa is a very simple one. We're asking the Western world to do unto us what they would want done unto them. Plain and simple. We're simply speaking our truth. You see, they never change. And that's why I was asked to come here and share with you, young, bright minds, that which you need to know. As this university is preparing you for the future, for you leaders of tomorrow, you must be armed with knowledge and understanding of who you are. We have a responsibility to empower you, remind you that you are the mothers and fathers of humanity. Own your power. We must let you know what your power is. You are a black woman. That's your power. Own it. You're black man. That is your power. Own it. You are an African. That is your power. Own it. Stand on the tallest mountain and proclaim to the world who you are, the proud, the beautiful, intelligent, sophisticated, highly adaptable, and totally indestructible African. That is who you are. And no one can take that away from you unless you allow them to do so. Understand what the World Bank is doing in Ghana. Understand what the IMF is doing in Ghana. Understand what the NGOs, even the embassies in some cases, are doing in Ghana. You, the people, have the power. But how do you change your Africa if you don't understand it? The abuse and exploitation colonization of Africa must come to an end. Imperialism must come to an end. Colonization must come to an end. We demand a free Africa that is going to be treated fairly, just like anybody else. Plain and simple. To that end, are you all prepared to fight for what belongs to you? Because this is not going to be easy. Getting rid of those people out of Africa is not going to be easy. It's going to take a deep understanding and a commitment to fight. It is a crusade. Make no mistake about it. It is not for the faint at heart. But we can only fight if we have that resolve and we understand that which we are fighting for. Africa for the Africans at home and abroad. No one can continue to abuse us to the extent that we have been abused. You children are our future. You have the intelligence, you have the energy, and I know if we can just join hands, a little wisdom that we might share with you, and the energy that you have, you are a formidable force, and the world knows it. Africa is going to take her place on the world stage. And we, your elders, are here to support you. We are here to give you our shoulders to stand on. And once again, let me reiterate, we apologize for what we have done to our Africa. We apologize for failing to defend your Africa like we should. But all is not lost. You have our commitment. You have our support. We have no choice but to fight to the bitter end. And this time, we're going to fight with knowledge. Let's honor our ancestors. Let's honor Kwame Nkrumah. Let's honor Nanaya Asantwa, a brave and powerful lady, the gatekeeper of the stool, the golden stool for the Ashanti people. And to the young ladies, may I remind you that this moment is calling for girl power. Nanaya Asantwa, when the men wanted to give up the golden stool to the British, she stood her ground. She said to the men, if you cannot come together and defend the golden stool, Nanaya Asantwa was going to call upon her women friends. The women were going to pick up arms and fight until each and every one of them was down. But she, as a woman and the gatekeeper of the golden stool of the Ashanti kingdom, was not going to allow the British to once again humiliate us and take the golden stool which housed the spirit of the Ashanti people. So it is Nanaya Asantwa shamed the men who came together, organized, and fought to defend the golden stool, which remains in the hands of the Ashanti kingdom to this day. This moment is calling for more Nanaya Asantwas. They come in as women, they come in as men. The question is, do you have the courage to stand up and defend your Africa? The time is now. Failure is not an option. Viva Africa! Viva Africa! Viva Africa! Viva Ghana! Thank you, my children, for this opportunity.